Hi again. Today's letter is on the letter R. So the main word I'm going to use for R, that's relationship to health, holistic health, in the Be Aware Holistic Health model for body, mind and emotion, is respect. I'd like to dedicate this video again to my father, who won the Gardner Medal. For anyone in Victoria would know that, or AFL, it's the Reserves Brownlow. So I'm wearing his medal because he is a great man that I respected. We had differences, however, we had a strong connection regardless of what our differences were. The other people that I'd like to have respect for today is people like Dr. Mike Yeadon, Professor Ian Brighthope, Dr. Vladimir Zelensky, Dr. Brian Tyson, Dr. Ryan Cole, and there are many others, Dr. Tess Laurie, who are willing to speak out and say their expertise in an area that is being suppressed in this particular time in our human existence in 2021. So, in relationship to the body, the main R letter association I'm going to do is respiration. Respiratory system is the dominant issue at the moment, which is causing so much havoc. It has actually been validated to shut the planet down. Severe acute respiratory syndrome, which is the words for representing SARS, SARS-2 in this case, both caused by instigated by a coronavirus, which is a type of virus, second most common in the viruses that cause the common cold. And that is in our microbiology textbooks for anyone that's questioning what I'm saying. So respiratory system, extremely important. Main focus of this will be with the nose, because nose is for breathing primarily and mouth is for eating and speaking. When the nose is blocked, obviously we have a backup for our inhalation of oxygen and other whatever is coming into the air. And our respiratory system will have defense mechanisms, which is part of the innate immunity. There are two main parts of the immunity, and innate is one of them. So innate is our barrier, our skin's part of that, as well as our mucous membranes. And they're in areas that are exposed to the outside for that very reason, to provide protection. So in the case of respiratory system, which is a great one, very important for our body and our mind and our emotions, as you'll see, it's all connected. In fact, if you watched the last one, you would have seen the breath intertwines all three. So the respiratory system is a very, very important thing to look after. So please think about what you're doing. If you're in an environment, and it could be just plain winter, when there's more dryness, so it's more prone to dry your mucous membranes, so therefore there's not as much trapping, because that's what mucous membranes do. They're sticky, the mucosa that's secreted in them, and that's because it's meant to trap anything that we inhale that should not be going into our lungs. And so that's the area that's going to be the problem. If it goes into our lungs, any foreign object that shouldn't be in there, then it will then pass into the bloodstream, which then passes to everywhere in the body, because the blood is, I used to say to my students, the blood is like the train, and it transports everything that's needed to go to cells, and including some things that aren't, and then takes away from the cells the waste products. So breathing in, whatever you're breathing in, is very important. And it's very important to breathe in optimally. So preferably not with any obstruction, particularly when you're outside, because outside we have beautiful fresh air. And the wonderful thing about sunlight and fresh air and ions from the ocean, particularly if you're fortunate enough to be near the beach, or even ions from a demister. A demister is in the one behind me on this side. That's a demister. Trying to get my finger there. So that's the demister. You put something like, which you can put eucalyptus drops in there, and some other lovely, because eucalyptus drops externally used is fabulous for your breathing. And things like lavender if you're very stressed, because the other word I'm going to use later starts with R, and that's important for holistic health. So respiratory system. So yes, utilize beautiful productivity of your nose for breathing. If you are exercising and you have to breathe through your mouth when you're exercising, then basically you're overdoing it, because it means that your body needs to step into another gear to increase respiration, and therefore you're gasping with your mouth. So that means your body's working. Even though you're doing exercise, you can do really resilient exercise with your breathing of the nose only. In some different forms of medicine, because remember over the videos I've expressed allopathic or Western conventional medicine is not the only form of medicine on the planet. In fact, it's the minor or the minority, because the majority will be natural medicine, as WHO claim. Depending on what source you read, 75 to 80% of the planet use herbal medicine or plant medicine as their form of medicine. So when you are breathing through your nose, you are utilizing the mucous membranes and the hairs that are in your nose, tiny, in some circumstances, they're very, very small. Sometimes when you see an older man or you become older in general, you'll get larger hairs in your nose, and you can do what you like with them, but they are there in our evolution for protection. So respiration is very, very important for physiology, for the body's functioning, and that's going to assist with your holistic health. So breathing unobstructed air as much as possible when you're in a state of perhaps caution, because we can use that word instead of fear. Fear creates something else. In the short term, it's fabulous, fight, flight, which is great. We get away from whatever's threatening us, but in the long term, it can be quite detrimental to our health. So cautious, you can put some Vicks on your chest or Vicks on the back of your child, because you don't want them to rubbing the front and putting it in their eyes, and then that will be useful. So things like eucalyptus in the air will help with destroying, and I'm not alone here. There are products also that are manufactured that are claiming that they destroy certain nasty viruses that are shutting down the planet at the moment. So eucalyptus, very good, and breathing as much as you can of the beautiful fresh air that we have outside. And if you're inside, you just make the air fresher, whether you're lucky enough to have a machine, or you can just burn or diffuse essential oils in your diffuser, such as eucalyptus, and lavender is beautiful to help with your relaxing, because that's the next one leading me into the R word for emotions. So our emotions are very important for our health, because they, when we're feeling whatever way it is, whether it's the dichotomy of fear or the dichotomy of love, or in the other scale, love, whatever we're feeling, it creates a release of, or stimulates a release of secretion of our chemicals in our body called hormones. And it also influences the electrical signals known as neurotransmitters, and they will affect how we are in our body, mind and emotions. So the emotions are also very important. So relaxation, as simple as when you breathe, you be aware of how you're breathing. Be aware. Holistic health care is about tapping into our awareness, physically, mentally and emotionally. So the emotional awareness of how you're feeling. If you're feeling anxious, you will be breathing short and shallow. So if you notice that, you can manipulate how you're feeling and calm yourself down by simply being aware of the breath, tapping into it, and starting to slow your breath down. It's easier when you've got less distraction, so you close your eyes. Obviously, you're not going to do it when you're having to perform an activity like driving a car. That's another technique I can help you with. However, you find a moment, remove your electronic devices, find that moment of no distractions, and just focus on the breathing. Then you through the nose, in and out through the nose. Consciously watching the breath as it relieves and you inhale. Feel it going in. Feel it going out. That's a start. And through doing that and then adding this one where you breathe it in, hold it, and then breathe it out. And repeat it. Breathing in, hold it, and breathing out. In and out through the nose, watching the breath, creating a space between it, because there's always is, even if it's a nanopart second, there's always a space between. And that conscious awareness of enlarging that space will create more sedentary effect. Slowing it down, then you're slowing the cellular activity down. And when you slow cellular activity down, you increase the possibility of increasing oxygen and therefore reducing oxidative stress, and then for lowering the mutations or any other activity that will increase harm to the body. So that's relaxation, that's emotions, which of course taps into, because it all affects how we think. So through slowing down our thoughts, being in an environment that if you are inspired and one of those people that are inspired by activities that can give you a fire in the belly and motivate you to move on, then they're okay. That's fabulous. Some people haven't got the capacity to deal with that because they're not in the state of balance to start with. In any case, one will always need to bring back to the balance regardless of the extra passion. So that's very, very important for the thoughts. So putting yourself in a space where you can have little to no external distractions and you can start to observe, monitor, not analyze, just monitor or observe the movement of thought. And it is easier when you go more deeper when you close your eyes. But even if you want to start doing it by looking to the distance, on your veranda if you're blessed to have a view, or looking up to the sky and just looking at the blueness, or even whatever colour it is, the night, the day, it's all valuable. And that will help to bring the thoughts to a focus, because it's that focal point that allows thoughts to start to settle. Even to the point where the awareness is there that you think, oh my God, I've got so many thoughts. I can't do this. You can. Can't just means you don't want to. Just allow it. Work with the breath to assist. So the breath will tie it in. Bring it always back to the breath if you're finding it hard. Body, mind, emotions, letter R. Respect all three. Know how you do, know how you think, and know how you feel. And incorporate these. And please, please be aware. Be aware of how kind you are to yourself. If you're not, then be. And to others. And above all, Namaste, and love always. Thanks for watching.